program. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki is just as confused as the rest of America as to why public schools are being opened one day a week after Joe Biden said he needs to open them 5 days a week in today's Psaki Dodge.
Can you explain to American parents week of in-person school, does that count as schools being open? Why should they be satisfied with that?
They shouldn't be. I wouldn't be as a parent. And I am a parent, I should say. I have 2 young kids. And I know many of you have kids as well.
You can see her face. By the way, you see her face, and I want to bring in the panel because I know Mark Halperin's got a light soliloquy on this. But you look at her face, and she's like, "I knew they were going to ask me that." Oh, every time. She just seems like she's just. I don't want to say in over.
With the Psaki Dodge, I hadn't heard that yet.
That you haven't heard our Psaki Dodges?
No, I hadn't heard that term.
Emerald, that's our new segment here on Wake Up America.
Oh,
it's so easy. Every day I'm like, boy, we got something here. It's so easy to put those together. Mark, thoughts?
I mean, Joe Biden said he would unify the country. That's not worked yet. He said he would do a better job dealing with the pandemic, including on schools. And this new thing where the press belatedly holds them accountable for moving the goalpost to positions where what they say they're going to achieve have already been achieved by the Trump administration. I find it bewildering. This is a bigger story than I think literally anything in the country, including the impeachment trial. Parents need the kids to go back to school. The economy needs it. People need it. And the teachers' unions are just, in many cases, blocking it.
Kids are falling.
Seeing the effects on the children. I mean, there was just another story of a young man who committed suicide the other day, and that's just extremely concerning.
We've had 2 on the show, parents of 2 kids that have committed suicide. Kids are falling behind. Joe Biden cares more about kids who could possibly be coronavirus positive that are down on the border right now, coming across that border, and than he does about American kids who are now, don't forget, March is coming up. That'll be the 1-year anniversary of coronavirus here in the U.S. This has gone on long enough. It's just terrible. Kim?
Yeah, so I am a mother, and my 4-year-old has been in school since Labor Day because she goes to private school.
Right.
But there's a huge problem here. I can tell you in Baltimore, we unify. And so in our schools, Baltimore, look at Maryland, 35 failing schools, 23 of them are in Baltimore. A lot of kids are already behind, and now they haven't been virtually learning for a year. So they're falling further behind, and there are a lot of parents that are really upset about it, but their voices are going unheard right now. Yeah. And so they really need to do something about it. And I have to say, putting kids in school 1 day a week versus the border's open how many days a week? They can all come through any day they want, but our kids need the same access to education, to whatever they need to get things done. And again, there are so many kids that aren't even eating during the day because they did rely on school lunch and other lunch and breakfast even at school. And so now, look at, we're hurting our children. As you said, there's kids taking their lives, and it's just sad all around.
There's a study that was out. I'm looking through my notes right now to find the source, but here it is, a bellwether study. 3 million students have fallen off the grid since last March. Fallen off the grid is a term they use, but it basically means that these kids are not showing up for online learning. They're not going to in-person learning, and no one really knows where they are, but they're not getting an education. I can tell you that.
Rich Larry has a great column this morning and puts it pretty starkly. Does Joe Biden, who clearly wants to get schools back open, does he want to side with the kids or the teachers' unions? That's the choice he faces.
It's a great.
Well, and I don't have the statistics in front of me, but there's definitely an increase in family violence as well. I have some friends who run a nonprofit related to domestic and family violence, and they say the calls are, increasing majorly, and just the statistics are up. And like I said, I don't have those, but I think it goes back to Kim's point as well, the kind of neglect that happens when kids aren't in school. I'm from a poverty-stricken area, and I had, lots of friends growing up, and that was their major meals of the day.
I want to pivot to this because we have so much to cover here. We need like a 2-hour panel just with no commercial breaks. But I want to play a soundbite from the great governor of Florida right now, Ron DeSantis. And I'll tell you what, just seems like Joe Biden and his good buddy Andrew Cuomo, who's in a whole lot of trouble in New York. Boy, they don't like that Ron DeSantis is becoming so darn popular nationally. But take a listen to this.
Restricting the right of Americans to travel freely throughout our country while allowing illegal aliens to pour across the southern border unmolested would be a ridiculous but very damaging farce.
Amanda Mackey in the great state of Florida, your thoughts on this?
And unconstitutional.
Yeah.
So what I would say is this is political. this is the most popular governor in America, and they know he has ambitions for 2024. And they know that really the only path to getting to him is to bloody him up in 2022. They are going after the spring break season here, and we were shut down last spring break. It was terrible for our economy here. We're largely, as you know, tourism-based economy. And so what is he doing? The Biden administration is looking straight into, they're going into their spring break season, their peak season, and we're going to crush them. So you cannot take one state and say, you're not allowed to travel to that state. I believe this is unconstitutional, and I believe it is highly politically motivated.
Steve, Joe Biden, when Donald Trump canceled flights from China into the U.S. I believe it was last January, when coronavirus was ramping up, Joe Biden called that move xenophobic. Now Joe Biden is canceling flights to Florida.
Well, look, I think I agree with the issue that trying to intervene in the travel of Americans anywhere in their country reminds people, of communist days in the old Soviet Union or in parts of China. It's not the things that, America does. That said, I think that I think Ron DeSantis, I would contest the notion that he was the most popular governor. I have no problems with Ron DeSantis, other than the fact that, Florida did not put in place, a lot of the protocols that might have helped that state. Many people there, my friend Jay Timmons lost his parents down in Florida, in part, they feel, because they did not have the broader protocols, of guidelines and health. I understand there's an element of individual responsibility, but there's also a governor's responsibility within his state. But I completely agree with the question that you should not intervene with the right of Americans to travel anywhere within this country.
Kim, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Governor DeSantis is doing a great job. I, for one, hope he does run in 2024. And I have to agree with Ms. Mackey. I think this is all political. They know that he's looking good out here. But for me, I was just in Florida last weekend. Everybody was having a great time. And I know for a fact that a lot of people like myself, even Democrats, they want less government. And so if you're looking for the government to save your life, it's just not going to happen. We have to have some personal responsibility here. And I think he's doing a great job. There was a mask on people in public places. People were actually following the law on that part. But at the same time, it's like, how much you're going to put on the American people? A lot of people are suffering just sitting at home and doing nothing. So I had a great time in Florida. I don't know about anybody else, but
I also think
Kim, I would just jump in. I mean, I just think when we have discussions like this, we need to remember
hold on one second,
that
Amanda.
we're losing about 3,000 to 4,000 people a day in this country. That's a couple of 9/11s, or that's a Pearl Harbor on every day. So I just think we need humility when we talk about having fun in a state. I'm glad you had fun. But we do need the government to save lives. We do need government to get vaccines in everyone's arms. We do need states and local governments whose economics. I just want to say there's an element here that we need to be careful of.
Steve, hang on one second. Steve, hang on one second. Amanda, go ahead.
I was just going, in response to Steve, I was just going to say, then why isn't the administration focused on that? He said 1 million shots in people's arms within 100 days. Where's that? Why aren't we focusing on, just as I said before in the last segment, the issues that actually matter to people? And to the point about,
I would just say, just respectfully,
Florida,
Amanda,
from states like New York and New Jersey.
Hang on, panel. I love the conversation. Yeah. Steve, jump in. Okay, I know you want something to say. Go ahead.
I do believe the administration is focused on it. I think they are not yet succeeding. We're at a level where we're getting nearly 1 million shots in folks' arms every day. But there are problems and supply problems. I won't put blame on the previous administration because they're having to build on that there. But I think that the ambition of what they need to do and what they've laid out is right. But look, I'm on a phone, off the record with members of the administration's communications teams and the leadership, Jeff Zients and others, where you hear what they're doing and taking forward. They're trying to be transparent about what they're at. So I wouldn't say they're not focused on that.
I understand that. I want to help amplify the point that I think Amanda's trying to make, and then I want to bring Mark in as well. Why are we picking on Florida? Shouldn't we actually look at the numbers? Florida is not a problem. Okay, Florida has the third highest population in the country. 28,000 people have died in Florida. 45,000 have died in the state of New York. 40,000 in Texas. 45 in California. But the deaths per 1 million, that's the metric that Dr. Anthony Fauci uses. Okay, Florida, deaths per 1 million, just over 1,300. In New York, over 2,300. Florida is not a problem. And when they closed down those beaches during spring break last year, I was on Clearwater Beach pretty often. And guess what? The pictures look like we're all packed in. I was 10 feet from the closest human being to my little pod.
And also, Florida's been open since May. New York's been shut down.
And I will say, I was in Florida as well. It sounds like a lot of people have made a trip to Florida a couple of weeks ago.
I'm trying to go back.
To my servers, my people, the Uber drivers, taxi drivers, every, working class person I could talk to. And I consistently heard they were thankful that they were able to continue to work, that they were all being, protecting themselves, sanitizing, wearing masks, things that have been asked of them to do by the CDC for COVID protocols. But they were very thankful that they could feed their families and continue to work.
Yes.
Because I had a couple people tell me, if we'd been shut down, I don't know what my family would have done.
Yeah.
So while we want to protect people, I think the numbers you gave, Rob, are very telling, because one thing that's emerging, and you're even hearing a lot of Democrats now say that Joe Biden is in office, is that the lockdowns haven't worked as far as keeping the numbers down.
I want to pivot just something that I thought was interesting, and we can talk about Florida more at the top of the hour. I know that's a big topic right now. The former Olympic chief, former Japanese Prime Minister Yoshiro Mori was forced to resign. This is the Tokyo 2020 games that was put off. He was forced to resign. Ladies, we'll start, Kim, with you, and then Amanda, and then Emerald, and then gentlemen, I guess we can all weigh in on this, but. He was forced to resign because he said during a Zoom meeting that women talk too much. He said that women talk too much during meetings and it makes conducting business challenging. They are way behind with wokeism out there, but that's not even wokeism. That's stupidity right there. But this guy forced to resign. Kim?
Yeah, I wonder if he's married and what his wife might have said.
I don't know if he's married now.
No, that's awful. But, unfortunately, I think a lot of men feel this way, and he just actually said it. But, we have women sitting at the table here in America, and I am proud of that. As you know, I ran for office, and you have an even number of women on this panel, so I think we're doing a pretty good job here in America.
Amanda?
I don't know. I don't really see the line here where you get offended by these things. But this is now spreading. I mean, we're talking about France right now saying, America's wokeism is actually threatening the French heritage. So I think this is just spreading throughout the world, that people are finding that everything offends them, and that people need to change and cultures need to change. I don't agree.
Emerald, any thoughts?
Well, I mean, clearly human rights abuses doesn't count for wokeism, because China's still scheduled to hold the Winter Olympics in Beijing.
We'll see. There could be a boycott. There's rumors about a possible boycott. Mark, I want to bring you back.
All I'll say is in Japan, Japanese constitution has an actual clause in it that guarantees equal rights to women, and everyday people like Yoshiro Mori do not live up to that standard within their constitution. I know him, and it was an outrageous comment. The notion of keeping women off a committee because they speak so much is absurd and stupid, and it should be called out.
Yes, absolutely. Mark, I'll give you the final thought, my friend.
I'm on the precipice of making Ron DeSantis the front runner for 2024.
Ooh.
And I can't believe we haven't talked about the New York Post story about Andrew Cuomo.
Well, Mark, we only have so much time in these panels. All right, we only have so much time.
I would have led with that.
Steve, stop picking on Florida. All right, it's spring break. I
love Florida.
I need a suntan. Oh my goodness! All right, panel. We'll see you again at the top of the hour.
It'll be DeSantis and Nikki Haley.
It could happen. It could happen.
Kristi Noem.
That's right.
Don't forget about her.
Kristi Noem would play better with the voters.
What about Kim Klacik and Amanda Mackey?
Ooh.
On a ticket. Yes.
Powerful ticket.
I was born in America, so I actually can't.
All right, panel, guys. This is like the Oscars. I hear the music. We got to run. We'll be right back. Stay with us. When we return this morning.